So here we are. We're live right now. I think I got the microphone. I didn't test the mic. Let me check the mic and see. Check. Yeah, it's working.
Awesome.
Yeah, buddy, we're live. What's up, Tim Franklin?
Ronnie Haskins.
How you doing, my man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Crazy Rooster Concrete.
Tis I.
So Tim, guys, if you're joining us or just watching this on replay, Tim is the owner of Crazy Rooster Concrete. You can see it in the video description on Facebook. But we love this kid. He's the president of our BNI chapter in Colorado Springs Success Partners. So there's a little plug for our chapter. If you are looking for more business for your business, reach out. Reach out in the comments, say more business in the comments, and one of us will reach out to you and invite you to our Thursday morning meeting where you can be in front of Tim, in front of 50 other business people, and get some more business going for you here in this town. So we believe in network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
So without further ado, welcome to the show, man. This is Hard Earned Knowledge.
Well, thank you. Good to be here.
You know how we got the Hard Earned Knowledge?
No, I like the title.
So I read Think and Grow Rich, and in the book he says it was written in the 30s. So in the 30s he wrote it like it was like male oriented. So he says men of a certain age will give away all the knowledge they have if you just ask them. The hard-won knowledge that they've earned. And so that's what I call this. And you are here to share your hard-earned knowledge.
It's the only way to get it. You can't buy experience, right? I mean, if you could put down $100 and gain a week's worth of knowledge, then wonderful. But the only way to get it is to do it. So
that's why I always have a pen ready. You can't buy experience. You can definitely buy talent and you can buy other things, but you can't buy experience.
You can't.
I love it. See, that's why you're here today, buddy.
Well, if I have a couple of nuggets of wisdom, then wonderful. But I'm trying to gather as many as I can myself.
That's all right. Yeah, you've probably learned and taught us older people more being in that chapter and running it as the president the past year than you would ever imagine.
Well, you're very kind. It's been an honor, and
you're doing a good job.
New experiences. There you go. New experiences. The only way to get them is to do them. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So all I ask you to do is speak up. We're going to ask him a few series of questions about his business, guys. This podcast is centered around entrepreneurship, business, and the stories and experiences gained through going through it, like he was just talking about. So we're going to ask him some questions about his business and what he's learned. And then maybe we can all learn something from him today that we can apply to our lives, our businesses, or share it with the next person or pay it forward. So if you're in for that and you like that, keep on watching the video. We're going to keep going right now. So Tim, let's start it with who you are and what you do and the name of your business.
Yeah. So my name is Tim Franklin. I'm 27 years old. I'm married. I've got a child on the way in October. So
congratulations.
I'm very excited about that little baby boy coming. Thank
you.
Super pumped.
An heir.
That's right. I need some help on the crew. So we got to start now.
That's cool, man.
And so the name of the company is Crazy Rooster Concrete. We're thinking of a name. I mean, you need a good one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a million. TF Concrete by Tim. Franklin's Flat Work.
Is that what you went through in your mind?
Yeah, just like forget it.
Who knows what flat work is?
Well, right, and even then, it's like, okay, my best one that's alliteration is, what's flat work? Like, are you gonna stucco or tile or what? Painting? I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
It's out there. So I wanted something relatable.
Yeah.
And not something that's just generic.
Right.
Concrete is expensive. So, I figured people are going to be getting a bunch of estimates.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a dozen estimates, for somebody to do your work, you're probably going to remember three. You're going to remember the highest one, the lowest one, and the weirdest one. And I thought, well, dadgum, I might as well be the weirdest one.
Yeah.
Haven't, been that good at blending in my whole life. So I figured let's embrace it and go from there.
I mean, that's great. I mean, you younger guys like come up with these ideas that some of us older guys might think is, pardon the pun, crazy.
It's bizarre.
But, when you say Crazy Rooster Concrete gave me a bid, you're going to remember it. Like, I might not remember Tim.
You probably won't.
But I'm going to be like, hey, what's that Crazy Rooster Concrete
the weird
guy?
one. What's that crazy name? Oh, the thing.
I say that is genius.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
I like that.
I can't just say it. It came to me.
Tell the story. I've heard it, but share it with the audience. Tell the story how you got that.
So I worked for a real nice gentleman. His name's Roger Angel or Rogelio.
Okay.
For his the name his mother gave him.
Gotcha.
And real generous dude. Crazy hard worker. Holy cow! I pride myself on being one of the hardest workers in the room. And that guy puts me to the test. I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
kind of an old school in the snow, uphill both ways kind of guy. And we were tearing out this concrete drainage in a parking lot. And, residential stuff is about 4 inches thick. Parking lot stuff ended up being about 16, 18 inches thick, somewhere
That's
in
like
there.
4 times?
4.5, somewhere in there.
Wow.
Yeah. And he forgot the jackhammer that day. So that was not our favorite. We had a 20-pound sledgehammer. And he wasn't feeling good. He had like a rib out of place or something ridiculous. And the man still shows up to work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that, speaks to his work ethic and just the drive that is a part of him.
I love it.
And so we're pounding away on this thing with a 20-pound sledgehammer, and we're just not getting anywhere because how could you?
Yeah, it's 16 inches of concrete.
Ridiculous. And so I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, man, like he's going to send us home. We got all this labor sitting here, essentially not working because we're not getting anywhere on this thing. So, he's hurt. He's going to send us home, go get his body right. We're going to come back the next day with the right equipment. As a young single guy making 15, 16 bucks an hour, I thought, well, dadgum, I need to get paid.
You had something going on that day. I remember the story. You had something going on. You needed to get paid. You couldn't have dead hours that day.
No, you got to be efficient, right? I mean, you got to make your check. So I said, all right, forget it. I hiked up my pants. I picked up the hammer, and I said, the next time this hammer touches the ground, either this is broken or I'm dead. Those are the two options. So I'm swinging away at this thing. And it's like bouncing back up at you, right? I mean, that's not too encouraging. It's ugh. And so I'm swinging, and my boss Roger is kind of chuckling.
Yeah.
He's telling me in his Spanglish. He's like, Primo, he's okay. Breathe, respire. He's okay. We come back later.
Yeah.
And I'm just ignoring him. Sweat's coming down, and I'm counting in my head because I meant what I said.
How many were you at?
So I'm counting. I'm at 20, and I'm just like, oh man, this might kill me. I didn't really intend on dying today.
I was just joking, guys.
Right? I thought, well, you can't make this big show and then only go halfway, right?
Right.
So we're going 21, 22. Uh-oh. Am I getting anywhere? 25, 27, 28, 29. I'm feeling something. And boom, on the 30th hit, the thing finally breaks. We get the spud bar in there. We're taking it apart, and I'm dying. The thing falls out of my hands. I'm like gasping for air on the side of this ditch that we've dug in this parking lot trying to get through this concrete. And my boss is just cracking up. He thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. Everybody's happy. We get through, we work the rest of the day. He gives me 10 minutes to recover everything. And anyway, he's laughing. He says, oh, Primo, you were like Crazy Rooster or something. Oh my goodness. And I'm just kind of lying there going, yeah, that's kind of fitting. Stuck. Yeah. He'd call us his roosters, and, I was the crazy one at that point. So anyway, all that to say, when I was looking for a name, I thought, hey, it ties into concrete.
Yeah.
It speaks to my work ethic. And because, right, it's like, hey, I might not be biggest, smartest, strongest guy in the room, whatever, but you know what, dadgummit, I'm going to get it done. And that's kind of been the mentality that I've carried into it of like, hey, I want to be the best. If I'm not, I'm still going to get it done. It's going to happen.
I mean, that's something like, this is hard-earned knowledge. This is not us here just preaching to people, but like, it's these lessons that you go through. The universe is testing you, how bad you want it, and you got through it. 30 swings.
30 with the 20-pound sledgehammer. So
have you done that again?
No.
That was the last time?
That was the last time.
Don't forget the jack. So the lesson is don't forget the jackhammer.
Do not forget the jackhammer. Just don't do it.
That's it right there.
It's brutal.
So you're going to be doing that with a guy one day. I bet that'll happen on your crew. You forgot the jackhammer. Let me tell you a story, son.
That's right.
It's going to take like 35 minutes.
That's right. Back in my day.
I used that hammer. Oh, man.
It gives me a better appreciation for, certainly working for someone else. Obviously, you got to come into their leadership, how they want to do things. And it's like, well, hey, I would have turned around and grabbed the jackhammer. He lived a ways away, but still, like, that's better than sitting here for 4 hours getting nowhere, right? Versus, so, having that appreciation now, getting to make those decisions myself.
Yeah.
What am I doing the night before?
Getting ready.
Exactly.
Yeah, jackhammer's on the truck.
Exactly. It's either on the truck or, I've got a list or, how am I going to organize things so that I'm prepared?
Yeah, which matters, man. I've had to put tiles on my keys and stuff. I've lost keys.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my goodness. Put that on the jackhammer. Make sure we don't drive away without that tomorrow.
Yep.
So you had a great mentor, a proven mentor.
Absolutely. That
you actually liked, and you learned a lot from him. How many years did you work for Roger?
18, 19, 2.5, almost 3, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Doing all residential stuff. And, Yeah, great teacher. He's tough for sure. You know, and we've got along well for the most part, but super, super tough. You know, if you couldn't cut it, you know, he wouldn't let you struggle and mess up the job.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he'd certainly let you struggle, but it's, hey, look, here's the standard. And if you can't meet the standard yet, let somebody else use the tool properly.
Right.
So, you know, certainly motivation, you know, kind of seeing these guys, you know, I'm greedy, right? I want to get paid more.
Yeah.
So, you know, seeing these guys, you know, get, you know, a couple $100 for, you know, 5-6 hours worth of work. And I'm sitting over here at 15-16 bucks an hour. I'm just going, dang, I got to get a piece of that.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean,
but they earn the skill set. They learn
Oh,
the skill set to
absolutely.
do it
very
properly.
talented. Earned it. Absolutely. Deserve it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. You know, and I'm sitting here thinking, man, I got to get those skills in my hands so that I can be worthy of that. Right.
Yeah.
Because I get it. You know, I don't want to sit here and be, oh, well, I sweat hard, so I also deserve lots of money.
That's like entitlement.
Right.
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 I'm sweating too, so I should get paid the same amount.
A monkey
even
can
though
shovel.
my concrete doesn't look as good as theirs.
Absolutely.
Or it's not serviceable. It's not going to work.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So 3 years under his tutelage,
Mm-hmm.
and then what was the catalyst to get you to break away and build your own business?
Two main things. So we parted ways at the end of 2019.
Mhm.
Dates are getting all messed up. And actually, I went to work for another gentleman doing commercial stuff, and his name was also Roger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So both my concrete teachers have been Rogers.
Okay.
So I got a little taste of the commercial side of things. We did the Circle K gas station over on Woodman and Black Forest, Rocky Mountain Auto Brokers over that side of town as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and just seeing things on a scale that I had never seen before.
That's a lot of concrete over there.
Oh man, it was incredible. So,
Mhm.
you know, coming from, you know, relative to that, tiny little patios, right?
Mhm.
Just getting a taste of both worlds. You know, I learned very quickly, hey, I don't think I want to be a part of this long term.
Right.
Just, you know, not my niche, not what I was looking for stress wise.
Okay.
So anyway, then COVID hit, right? And he kind of scaled back. We're working up doing residential stuff up in Woodland Park. And anyway, so back to your question about, you know, what kind of kicked me out the door. I thought at some point I would want to start my own business. You know, maybe 3-4 years
Mhm.
down the line, you know, I wanted to get a little bit more under my belt first before I thought I'd be ready, I guess, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Anyway, there was a contractor that used to work with my first boss. They parted ways. He contacted me and said, hey, you know, are you still in concrete? You know, do you want to do it? He was on the sales side of things. He wouldn't do the actual work. But then, you know, subcontract
He was getting
out
jobs.
to guys like me. Exactly.
People trust him. He gets the jobs. Is that how that
Exactly.
works?
Absolutely. You know,
Okay.
he did a great job, you know, networking, you know, a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff online, you know, running like Angie's List, that sort of thing.
Without swinging a hammer.
Exactly. So, you know, I mean, really good for him in that
Yeah.
sense of, you know, saving his back, saving his knees. And he
That's
said,
all
"Hey,
right. Yeah.
let's work with, you know, business people who know what they're doing, you know, who
Mhm.
can pour the concrete well, you know, and everybody gets paid and life is good."
Right.
So anyway, I said, wow, you know, I guess it's do or die. You know, like it's kind of now or never, because if he's already has this established presence where he can go get the jobs,
Leads.
that's got to be the hardest
Opportunities.
part in my mind starting out.
Well, you're working on it now, being out, but like, yeah, no doubt. Like that
Right.
you noticed that is amazing. Like he's noticed that he get, you know, if you're going into business for yourself, it's great that you might be a master of concrete.
Sure.
But if nobody knows about it, if nobody's calling you,
Right.
good luck building another concrete pad in your backyard and you're
Exactly.
paying yourself.
Exactly. You know, let's say you have, you know, 3-4 weeks worth of work built up. Well, now what? You know, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not getting more jobs during those 4 weeks, you're up a creek.
Right.
So that was great. That was a wonderful
So
stepping stone.
you attach to him and start taking those opportunities and bidding them. So you'd have to bid the job. He call you, you go bid it, or he had already set all that up. Like this job pays this, and you show up.
Right. So we had a pretty good system. He was very good at selling. He was, as far as I knew, he would sell the job already.
Yeah.
Or he would, you know, he would go speak with the homeowner, you know, sketch out the area, you know, send me pictures. We could go look at it if, you know, if it was more in depth than we wanted to.
Yeah.
You know, and I would give him my bid. So I
Right.
made what I wanted to make.
Sure.
You know, so use round numbers. If I say, hey, it's going to be $100, you know, great. I mean, you know, he can go sell that job for $105 or $400.
Yeah.
Didn't matter to me. It's like, hey, and he was very fair. He always said, hey, Tim, be happy. Give me your happy number. You know, like leave the selling up to me and give me your number.
I like that. Give
That's
me your
it.
happy number. It keeps the relationship good.
Yeah, absolutely.
If anybody's losing, it eventually gets sour.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so yeah, I like that.
You know, neither one of us wanted to be sitting over here going, man, that guy's ripping me off.
Every time you show up or the phone
Right.
rings, you don't want to answer the phone. Yeah,
Right.
that's not a good place to be.
Right. So no, it was great in that sense for me. You know, he was landing the jobs. I was making what I needed to make, and also having, you know, the mentality of like, shoot, you know, because every now and again there'd be a little bit, you know, some of those thoughts would creep in, like, hey, he might be making bank off you. You
Yeah.
know, like if you sold this for $100 and he's going to sell it for $4,
Yeah.
come on, man. So it taught me two things. One, get expensive, right? Like,
Yeah.
well, value yourself is really what it taught
That's
me.
true.
Value your time. You know,
You were
value the work
wholesaling
that
the
you-
job, basically.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. Which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah. That's what I needed at the time. You know,
You don't have to do the paperwork. You don't have to deal with the client.
Right.
So he was dealing with all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's.
He's got the stress, the responsibility of it.
Yeah.
I just had to show up and pour concrete.
Gotcha.
So, you know, it's a good trade-off.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, also like, hey man, this is what you committed to. So what's your problem? Who cares if he's making $1 million off this?
That's a good lesson though. So you had to learn that lesson.
Sure. Yeah.
Because those words, what he's saying, guys, is those things, they creep in. Like you start working with somebody or doing business with people, and you start worrying about what they're doing,
Right.
And you forget about all the skill sets you had. Like you were just saying, he's great at sales. He's great at getting the bid done, sold, walking the client through it. Like all that stuff was done, but we forget about it when you're in the thick of it. But you picked up on that pretty quick.
Worry about yourself.
Yeah.
Like there's enough problems, you know, like forget it.
What can you change?
Right. How can I be better?
You could give him a higher bid.
Right. Exactly. Go find my own. You know, if
Go-
I
or
want to
go
go take on the added work and responsibility, go do it yourself,
Well,
dude.
nobody wants to hear that answer, do they?
Nope.
All right. So you know where we're going, right? So what happened with that? So how long did that burn?
We worked together until the start of last year. And he was great because, you know, we weren't married in the sense of, you know, we weren't business partners.
You weren't
right?
invested together, nothing like
No,
that. No
exactly.
bank accounts. Yeah.
So I would have jobs and projects that we would do, and then we would just schedule together.
Mhm.
You know, he would say, hey, you know, I've got one for you to look at. You know, can you come do this one? You know, and we'd schedule it out, and life was great. So it was wonderful because he was providing, you know, the vast majority of the work that we had to start out. But as we were working through, you know, these jobs, posting on social media, you know, friends and family, and, you know, you start to build your clientele. You know, towards the end of our working relationship, he was providing maybe 25% of the jobs that were coming in.
Oh, so you were getting leads from elsewhere? at
Oh,
this
absolutely. Yeah, it really took off. I didn't really advertise outside of Facebook or Instagram. You know, I'd post on social media, you know, some finished product, you know, every now and again, a time lapse. You know, right now we're trying to shift in a little bit more of the educational thing that we were talking about off camera a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, very, very quickly, you know, we got booked out in the summertime to, you know, right now we're about 8 weeks, which is what
2 months.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
for my business and the size crew that we have. That's about where we want to be for summertime.
Mhm.
Keeps the clients mostly happy. You know, it's not like the whole summer's going. But you know, that being said, we gotta get through them quickly because that is kind of the line that we found of where people start
They
saying
lose
"Eh,
patience, or they start
get
looking
someone else."
elsewhere. It's going to
Exactly.
take too long.
Right.
Unless they really love you and they just, I
Right.
got to work with Tim. you
If
know?
it's the end of June, you know, and you say, well, I want a fire pit out here. Well, wonderful. We could do that. But, you know, okay. And, you know, end of June. So July, end of August, all of a sudden.
No,
it's like,
summer's
well,
almost over.
I lost a lot of barbecue nights out here.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
Okay. Great, man. So that's awesome. I like to put the pieces together on how you start building this thing. So do you still advertise on social?
We post, you know, I still
You don't
haven't
spend
run a paid
money,
advertisement,
but you
no.
post.
Yeah. We partnered with actually the high school that I graduated from, TCA.
Okay.
And they reached out to me actually and said, hey, we're looking for a concrete guy for our, you know, our sponsor club. Essentially, they call it the Titan Club. Shout out
to the
TCA
Titan
class
Club.
of 2013.
Nice.
And yeah, so you know, we did some small projects for them. That was a weird feeling, pouring concrete at the campus that you went to for elementary school.
You're the big guy on campus
It was
now.
a very, very bizarre feeling. Had a couple of kids come up to me after the fact, you know, the concrete was already poured and we were coming back to do some backfill. And these adorable little third graders are coming up to me, hey, how's it going, mister? Do you need any help?
Can we write our name in?
They're hilarious. They were like, you know, I told, oh no, I'm good. We want to keep you guys safe. No worries.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'll be in and out here 20 minutes. You know, they don't listen. They're going to go fill up
Oh,
buckets
yeah.
of dirt and they're coming over and helping me.
Yeah, in the third grade.
They're killing me.
Yeah.
They're so funny.
That's super cool, man. Let's see what the next question is I have on here. So we talked about that. Let's talk about some adversity. You know, I like hearing about how people go through adversity and persevere and learn something from it and keep moving. So you've shared some of that stuff, but what was a major challenge you had in the beginning of starting the business? After you broke away from Roger, this leads things drying up with the guy that was doing the Angie's List stuff, and now you're on your own. You're on the island now.
Sure.
So what was a big thing? It doesn't have to be physical. Like, was
Sure.
there a mental thing, or Share with us something that you think they could use, that you ran up against this wall of resistance and you needed to push through, and it took you some time.
Um, for a long time, I've kind of described, whether it's my concrete journey or really just in life, of like falling forward. That's my goal. I don't have it figured out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a constant learning game. Running your own business, it's okay. What do I need to organize ahead of time? Is the truck prepared? Do I have all the right tools? Do I have enough labor? Have I communicated with the client? Have I communicated with the concrete pump? Have I communicated with the concrete company? So there's a lot of balls in the air that you're juggling through these things. So really, the responsibility is the biggest thing. How much responsibility can I take in this situation is one of the main questions that I ask myself. And as a small business, as the owner, the answer is a lot. I mean, you need to, because otherwise, you find yourself either short-staffed, or you don't have the right tools, or you didn't order enough concrete, or whatever it is, and you're kind of looking around with no one to point the finger at.
It's you.
Right? You got to look at yourself in the mirror. It's like, oh, dude, that was you.
Yeah.
So, just learning those harder knowledge.
Learning the responsibility for your decisions with your whole business.
Absolutely. One of the main reasons I joined BNI, we decided to part ways with the gentleman we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, shoot, well, he's a lot less of my business now, but still 25% is a chunk. So
Yeah, it is.
What am I going to do to replace that?
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I was freshly married and decided, gotta live.
Yeah.
I gotta bring home the bacon, right?
You gotta bring home the bacon.
And actually, so a friend of mine said, oh, you should come with me to this network meeting. And I thought, this is just going to be a bunch of cheesy people.
Say that again.
I thought it was going to be terrible. I thought, she said, oh, it's called BNI, you got to come. And I said, man, this is going to be a waste of time. This is going to be a bunch of doofuses handing out their business cards with fake smiles plastered on their faces, going, oh, if you ever need a roofer,
truth. I love it.
Come talk to me. And it's like, whatever, I'll give it a go. And my first thought was, wow, this is a cult.
We do. Yeah.
Everybody bought in.
Yeah.
You guys were serious. That was one of the first things. I was like, oh, this guy's serious about selling cars.
Yeah. We're there
he
to
knows
work.
what he's doing.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And seeing how, the group was keeping each other accountable with the different
numbers
requirements, that are there. And I thought, okay, well, this is a cult, but dadgum, it works.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a part of it. And I applied very, very quickly.
You did. I remember.
Great.
Yeah. You've been a great member.
Well,
you've taken us a long way.
It's been good.
How has the networking helped you? Has it helped your business, or helped you?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I needed to learn was you're not selling to the people in the room.
It's tough.
It's because at the time there were 26 of us or something
right.
like that. And I thought, what are 26 people? Even if I sold every single one of them a patio, is this worth my time every Thursday morning? And it's like, no.
Right.
It's not about the 26 people in the room. It's about every single person that those 26 people know.
250 people each.
Absolutely.
So then it becomes a big number.
Absolutely. So if I can build that relationship with those people, and all of a sudden, they can recommend me, knowing that, hey, if I send Tim Franklin over to my grandma's house, he's going to take care of him. That's kind of my benchmark, right?
Right.
Look, dude, if I can't give my grandma your number and know that you're going to take care of her, I'm not going to recommend you.
I like that.
That's it. Like if I think that you're more worried about your bottom line than you are about, the care that's provided to her, forget it.
Right.
If she needs to come out here and tidy up stuff after the job,
ouch,
after you're done.
Grandma tidying up this job.
No, thanks. I'm not a part of it.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. But he's talking about building your network, guys. Your network is your net worth. And I'm glad you joined. And this is great. I like this. We're going to keep this video. So, all right. So thank you so your major adversity was learning how responsible you needed to be and learning how much responsibility you need to take on for each job that you're doing, or like dealing with consumers, dealing with, you had a lot of moving parts, like dealing with you have stakeholders, which are the people that make the concrete, you go buy from them.
Right.
Then you've got the people that work for you, or the people that you sub to.
Right.
Like all of these people.
There's the concrete company itself, if it's a big job, you need to get the concrete from the truck to wherever it's going to be. So if you're in the backyard, I'm not going to wheelbarrow 10 yards of concrete.
Right.
That was coming up in the business. I'm tired of that. That was one thing that I said, hey,
that wheelbarrow tire is always flat for some reason.
Exactly.
You find that, dude? Like mine is, I've never had air in it.
Every time.
It's always flat.
So let's get a pump truck. you know, and forget it, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, should we pour concrete at 2:30 in the afternoon when it's 95 degrees? No.
No.
So you got to call in a week ahead of time to make sure you get those prime slots at 7 in the morning.
7 in the morning. Yeah.
So
Nice and cool and damp. It's like, let's get it on the ground.
Exactly. So that, and right, finding the balance there too, because I tell you what, sometimes there's still nights where I go to sleep thinking about, hey, did I call this?
What'd you forget?
Did I do this?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's a certain amount of that that's needed, and then there's a certain amount of it where it's like, no, I've done my prep. Rest.
Do your best. Pray that's blessed.
God takes care of the rest.
God takes care of the rest. I like that though, because you're learning about taking responsibility and you're going really deep. Like, it's not just responsibility for what he said or she said. It's like, you got to take, you can't always blame that guy that you're pouring concrete at 2:00.
Right.
It's y'all's fault that you didn't have anything in the books. Well, you could have called it in 3 weeks ago.
That's right.
Once you take that responsibility, your jobs get easier.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, I mean, because no matter what, the client, you know, the homeowner,
they don't care.
I paid you to pour concrete.
Yeah. I don't care if it's 2:00 or 1:00. It better be done and right and on budget. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there was one time, it was a pretty good sized job that we were trying something new. I couldn't get any slots early in the morning, so I thought, okay, what if we go later? You know, when it starts to cool off, let's go like 4:35, somewhere in there. And if you get an early morning slot with a concrete company, that's great, because nobody has had a chance to screw up ahead of time. You know what I mean? But the later you go in the day, you catch all the mistakes.
So it keeps getting pushed out, or
exactly.
This is going to be late, Tim.
Exactly.
He's still stuck over there with old boy. You know, Tom.
Exactly.
Oh, he had Tom before me? It's like, oh, dude.
So,
smoke him if you got him, boys. We're going to be here a while.
That's right.
But they're still on the clock.
Right. Right. So, you know, I schedule the labor. I schedule everything we need. We're all set. We're all there at the right time. I think it's 4:30, sometime in there. And no concrete. And we're waiting. I don't want to be that guy who's always riding people to, why are you 5 minutes late? Why, you know?
Right.
So you give it a little bit, right? 30 minutes goes by. I call them up. I'm like, hey, guys, where you at? And they go, oh, yeah, a truck just got back to the plant. We'll send him right over to you.
30 minutes out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And right, so they tell me 30 minutes. Another 30 minutes goes by. I'm like, hey, where is he? They're like, oh, he's stuck in traffic. He'll be there in 30 minutes. 30 minutes goes by and he's still not there. So at this point, we're an hour and a half past when we were supposed to be. Sun's going down.
People are getting home. They're making dinner in the house if you're at a residential thing.
And I'm thinking, man, you know, as soon as that sun goes behind the mountains, two things are going to happen. One, it gets dark. And two, the concrete doesn't set up as quickly. So am I going to be here until midnight finishing concrete? And then, you know, if I miss something, I don't have the lights for it. Anyway, I'll have to say,
it's exponential now.
We had to dump it out.
What?
We dumped it. I called it off. I said, hey, we can't do this because, you know,
if we
start right now, it's too late. And kind of working through that issue with the concrete plant of like, hey, well, whose fault is this?
Yeah.
Because you guys were late, but you know what? I said, bring it still. You know what I mean? So we kind of split the difference on that.
That's interesting concept. I like that. But you didn't just blame them entirely.
It's frustrating. Yeah, I wanted to. I certainly wanted to. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's like, hey, you know what? I mean, you know, I spend, this isn't crazy. I probably spend $60,000, $70,000 a year with the concrete company.
Sure.
So am I going to burn a bridge over this one job? And now all of a sudden, you know, even if we're still doing business, they're not going to give me preferential treatment. That's for dang sure. Or do I find a new vendor? You know, I mean, what are these different roads that are open to me? And at the end of the day, decided, hey, it's not worth it. You know, it's like, let's eat the cost. It comes out of my pocket.
Right.
You know, I mean, you still got to pay everybody.
Lessons aren't free.
Right.
Hey guys, he's talking about some real hard-earned knowledge here. This is awesome. Like you don't really realize how much you've learned, do you? It's been 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're over 10,000 hours. You know, it's crazy. You're a master at what you do now.
I hope.
You know?
I'm trying.
So like, it's great though. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go to the next question. Let's go back to our podcast page here. So now I talked about this. You don't have to give me a book title. Actually, I like the book title you came up with before we started. What book do you like to use for self-improvement?
I gotta tell you, I wish that I read more just in general.
Yeah.
It's always on my list, and unfortunately, it's one of the first things to go when I get busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of self-improvement, I mean, ultimately, Scripture. You know,
Scripture.
It's easy to say the Bible.
You said it, Scripture. Yeah.
But you know, I mean, it's not only is it the most important self-improvement book, but I mean, it's got all the answers. You know, because I could read a concrete book, right?
Yeah.
Say, hey, you know, this is good. You know, and absolutely glean things from it. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be on my gravestone. I don't want good concrete finisher. You know, I want good husband, good dad.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. And,
good, faithful servant.
Right. The only way to do that is, you know, to have the Lord be working in me. So it's like, hey, I want to be familiar with that because, you know, being a good father and a good dad doesn't automatically make you a good concrete guy. But you know what? So much more of concrete is what we were talking about, setting up all these different things rather than the actual work of doing it. So if I can bring my A game for the prep, for the organization, for all these things ahead of time, for the relationships I have with the crew, with the customer, with my vendors, all these things. If I'm the man who God's created me to be ahead of time for those things, the actual work is going to fall into place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
So in terms of self-improvement, that's, I guess, kind of my philosophy as far as that goes. It's not like, oh, I need to be more organized or be more this. You can have all these wonderful individual things, but if the whole package isn't there in who you are as a man, settled, spiritually speaking, you're just kind of slapping a Band-Aid on a big old wound,
There's a lot of billionaires that are faith-made billionaires. There's a guy out, money smart guy, Matthew Sapala. I got to meet him once at a function down in Miami. He wrote a book called The Faith-Made Millionaire. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of the lessons are right there in the good book for people to read. So, hey, if that's what you choose to self-improve it, I think it's great. There's lots of books you guys can look at, but take it from Tim, check out some of the scripture. It'll reinforce everything you're working on and help you in your business. So I believe you, man. It's totally good. A lot of the things we do are the stuff that our parents put on us, are going to church all those years. All the decisions we make on the things that we're doing are all tied to that. So
it's the little things ultimately, and maybe I'm jumping the gun. I mean, one of the things that I think is absolutely responsible for the success that we've been able to experience and be blessed with is just doing the little things right. You know what I mean? Like if you're cutting corners all the time and just looking to move on to the next job, and finding anywhere that you can save a buck and be efficient. It's like, okay, these are good things, but at the end of the day, am I providing quality work that's full of integrity?
Yeah.
Because those little things make up your life.
Right.
You when you're faced with some big decision, get input, get wisdom, talk to your mentors, talk to people who are older and wiser than you are, who've been there. But at the end of the day, if you're doing those little things right, I think big things become a whole lot easier because the big things are made up of those little things.
It's just a combination. It's a culmination of all of them.
Right.
No, you're not wrong. I like it, guys. I hope you guys are learning stuff like me today. This guy's great to have around. And he's going to be my concrete guy whenever I need it. We're going to walk across the hall here soon and talk about that concrete more.
That's right. We got that off.
We're going to do that. So we'll see if they're there.
Awesome.
Let's go to the next question. So talked about self-improvement. Let's go to, all right. What do you love most about being an entrepreneur and why?
It's a puzzle, I mean, concrete is not my life's passion. It's just not.
Really?
No.
You don't sleep in it and don't wash your hands at night. Just leave it on there.
It's wet rocks in a box.
Wet rocks in a box.
I tell you, I mean, there are aspects of it that are very cool. You pour a nice colored and stamped slab that somebody's going to be barbecuing on for the next 30 years, making memories with their family. That's fun. That's nice. But that's not what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Okay.
That being said, it is fun figuring out how all the little pieces of business fit together. You know what I mean? So in the sense of, right, I'm not washing my hands in concrete. I'm just so excited for it all the time. That doesn't interest my brain.
Right.
But fitting everything together does. Again, I've said it 4 times, did I call the truck? Did I call the pump? Do I have enough labor?
You like those puzzles.
It's interesting. I mean, we're created for work. We absolutely are. If you're sitting on a beach for a month with a margarita in your hand,
you're gonna get
bored
sick
after like 2-3 days.
Yeah,
it's
and
nice
we've all done
rest,
it.
But
like Vegas, it's like 2 days, man. It's time to go.
Right. Enjoy, rest, recover, recuperate.
Get out of
wonderful. Then you got to go back to work. Do it. We're made to work. So, right, being an entrepreneur is fun. It's tough. You're the last one who gets to clock out at the end of the day. Depending on who's calling you, you got to answer the phone.
Right.
I mean, you got to, on the other end of things, you got to set up good boundaries. When am I going to answer the phone? When am I going to not answer the phone? Nobody can fire you. So that's a perk for sure.
yeah. Clients can. I mean, so like people ask me like, you don't have a boss. I'm like, I have hundreds of bosses, but that's like, point. I mean, I had to learn that the hard way too. It's like, yeah. So then they all have different personalities.
Yep.
But that's also like, I like the puzzles like you. I like the puzzles of figuring out what's the best solution for this family. That's really cool to figure that out and get the right solution for them.
Right.
Just like you're doing with concrete and all the business pieces. And we have stuff too, like shipping cars, doing this. Last weekend we had the trucker gets there. The auction's closed. I'm like, closed? They never close. Where's the guard shack? They used to have a guard shack. with 3,000 cars. You know, there's someone at the gate.
Mm-hmm.
You got a piece of paper? Okay, he's got the piece of paper. Can't get the car out. They're locked up.
Yeah.
He goes, I'll get it Monday. So he calls me Monday. Oh, we're not getting it today. It's Juneteenth. I'm like, they're still not open?
Yeah.
Last time we talked was Friday. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this is not cool, dude.
Well, and
like,
then it's on you to go coordinate with your clients and smooth that over and make sure that things are good there. And
but see, but like you said, I learned a long time ago. Like, so the people like Friday, they knew I had a shipper working on it.
mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, when's it going to be here? So I could have said Monday.
Right.
I was like, I don't know, sometime next week. It'll probably be here because it's still got to get here, go to the shop, get clean. We got a lot of diligence to do. That's just years of learning.
Right.
Do not tell them it'll be here Monday because guess what? They expect that concrete Monday at 5. By the time we're barbecuing Monday.
That's right.
I don't care that that guy's not here till 4:30.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, there's the classic under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
And there's some wisdom there, but in the sense of just setting expectations.
Setting expectations.
I if I may, I heard you on the phone on the way in.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was wonderful. You know, I mean, Ronnie's talking, you know, to this potential client.
Yeah.
He's not selling him. He says, hey, I'm not a good fit for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just trying to sell you something. You know, I don't play nicely with everybody in the sandbox. Sometimes we're not just meant.
I literally said that.
It was wonderful. I was like, this guy knows what he's worth, first of all, and he knows what type of client he wants to work with.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we try. You know, you try to paint that picture and attract that client because those are the. You know, once I figured that out, I'm like, I do the best job for you.
Right.
You know, when you fit into this box, and not everybody does. So you have to meet them with empathy and kindness and help them on their journey. And sometimes it's just advice. I'm like, I will advise you for free.
Right.
You might not want to know what I got to say, but this is, you asked me, I'm like, here's my opinion.
Well, and setting those expectations ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, people ask me all the time, oh, what do you think about this? Should I make it, you know, 40 by 20 or this big or whatever? And I say, hey, look, this is going to be here for a long time.
A long time.
Let's make sure that you like it, first of all. You know, I'll tell you what I would do if it were my house. You know, I would do 1, 2, and 3. We got a hot tub over here. We got this over here.
That's the information I would want.
Right. But I say, you know, what do you see yourself doing out here?
Yeah.
If this is just you and the wife and, you know, 2 friends coming over, you don't need a 40 by 40 slab. Holy smokes. You know what I mean?
And they're playing pickleball.
Exactly. Let's scale it down. You know, let's put a little bit more detail in there. We can give you a nice border, you know, throw some ideas out there. Like, oh yeah, that would be nice. You know, or no, I want my kids over. I want my kids' friends over. I want my kids' friends' parents over. And we're partying it up. It's like, hey, let's, you know, we need a fire pit. We need a barbecue. We need, hot tub over here, you know, pathway that way to the front. I need a spot for my trash can pad. You know, stuff like that. I mean, let's do it up and finding out what their need is and setting those expectations ahead of time.
So it's not like the flat screen TVs, you know, like my friend told me a long time ago, it's like, you got a wall, buy a TV that fits the whole wall. Because, you know, it's never going to be big enough. Like, you're going to go back in 2 years and be like, man, I should have got the 85 inch. I should have got the 150 inch. You know, like, if there's real estate there, you should use it. That's not the same way it is with concrete.
It can be. I mean, you know, there's certain amounts. I don't have a minimum charge. A lot of my vendors do. So ultimately speaking, you know, the bang for your buck goes way down, you know, if you want
when you get a big
5x5 thing versus, if you go big, let's do it. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it, you know, certainly cost, you know, HOAs sometimes will say you can only have X% of your yard be concrete.
Right.
You know, do you want it xeriscaped? You know, do you want garden beds? You know, I mean, do we need to partner with a landscaping company to better fit your needs?
You know why you need an expert, guys? I was on the board of the HOA for a while, and you just said it, like the HOA. Like, so I remember this case coming before the board, and they're like, well, the neighbor laid concrete in his whole backyard. And I was like, wait a minute. Let me see the picture. So we're looking at the picture. I'm like, oh, and he got it painted red. It looks kind of good. What's the problem?
Yeah.
But it's just what you don't know. So when it rained, guess what it did?
It bleed?
No. It flooded both neighbors' houses. So guys, like, if I wouldn't have known this.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for the water to go.
There you
go. It just went, and he put it all the way out to the fence. Like, he didn't leave an easement.
Okay. So nothing's getting absorbed. It's
Nothing.
Going right there.
It just went, like, any amount of rain flooded. And so these guys on the sides were complaining.
Mm-hmm.
It was going, so it was, you know, it's raised up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was going down in their window wells.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. It was beautiful. Like,
yeah.
and so all these people involved now and this and that.
Yep.
I think he ended up having to rip out all of that concrete. Yeah. Like, you know, it's like, so, all right, check with your HOA.
Yeah.
They have a place called the Architectural Committee. They approve and deny this stuff. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. I mean, none of us really love it, but if you live in a community with an HOA, eventually you're going to lose. So you should probably have the architecture committee look at it. And then you need an expert to tell you stuff like that, because who would have known that you're going to cause a flood?
That's tough.
Because you built it out to the fence.
That is
you know?
tough. I mean, really, like whenever I show up on site, I'm thinking, okay, what could go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, is there a sump pump over there? You know, do you care about your sprinklers?
French
You know,
drains or
keep-
whatever you want to
French-
call them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The water's got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And we
The
sure as
concrete
heck
doesn't
can't
absorb
have-
it anymore.
No, a very small amount, a very, very small amount. But right, I mean, like you're saying, it's going to push somewhere. And we can't have it be pushing up against your house. That's a no-no, right? So we need our slope.
Well, yeah, they sloped it away from his house.
So it sounds like they did a good job there.
Great job, guys.
But yeah,
These other two houses,
it's going to go
fish
somewhere.
bowls.
It's
Yeah.
going to go. Is there an easement behind your house we can push it to? Is it, something?
And once you finally looked at it, it's like, oh, golly, who approved this? Well, nobody did.
Yeah.
He just, I'm getting it done.
Right.
And it's going to be red.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, that was horrible. So another reason to hire Crazy Rooster Concrete. So I think we got that question answered, right? About what's your favorite part about being an entrepreneur? You like being your own boss?
Yeah, be my butt, figuring it out.
Figuring out doing puzzles. Got it. I just like to make sure we summed it up.
I don't like being put in a bad situation and having someone else to blame.
Okay.
So hand in hand with that responsibility,
You like taking
if
responsibility.
you're in a bad spot,
It's because of you.
you look at that man in the mirror.
It's like Marcus Aurelius. That's what he says. Everything that's happening to you is your fault.
That's right. I would love to be responsible for my own success. And, unfortunately, I'm also responsible for the success that I'm not experiencing.
And you're responsible for the failure too. That's what it is,
Exactly.
or the lessons you're learning.
Exactly.
If you don't like the word failure, you can just use lessons.
I like that. All my lessons are expensive these days. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I've been paying for them for a long time.
Yeah.
You kind of get used to it, and you look forward to paying for them because you know
Yeah.
you're going to learn something.
Right. You sure as
Whether
heck
you
don't
like it
make
or not
twice.
is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hope not to pay for it twice.
That's right.
Yeah. So let's see. Tell us your favorite success story. So you've been in business. Is this year 4?
Started in the middle of 2020. So 1, 2, 3. So yeah, we just hit our 3-year anniversary.
Well, give us your best success
3
story
years
right
ago.
now. Today.
Me.
I want to thank me.
If I can be
he wanted to
selfish.
do that like Snoop Dogg. I want to thank me
In the-
for getting up and getting this work done.
That's right. I mean, hopefully not in an arrogant sense, but in a dadgum, I put a lot of sweat into the ground over the last 3
It's
years.
funny you're saying that because it's hard for that to sink in for me, right?
Mhm.
Because I have a hard time valuing myself,
Mhm.
like I don't know, but like, dang it, that's a great perspective. Like, you're not arrogance, but you want to thank yourself for like listening to all the stuff. Maybe, hey, thank yourself for listening to the scripture and getting up and busting your butt.
Sure. I was up out of bed at 5 o'clock this morning and had to run to Monument and reseal a job. And
Thanks, Tim, for getting that done.
sure.
Today,
I mean, I'm sure there's somebody getting up at 4, working harder. So that could be motivating to me, right? I want to feed off of that. Like, yeah, let's hustle. Let's get it. But at the same time, it's funny, I mean, being still on the younger side of things, processing maybe expectations that you didn't even know you had as a kid. I kind of thought I'd turn out like my dad, kind of like first of all, Mark Franklin is a wonderful human being. He's
All right, Mark.
incredible. Best dude ever. Taught me everything I need to know. But you kind of think you turn out the same way in the sense of, okay, I'll probably live in this part of town. I'll probably make about this. I'll probably drive this type of car or something like that. And then comparing that to making $15 an hour shoveling, it's like, oh, I'm not going to be a homeowner at $15 an hour. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I need to do something.
But you did
You
do
know.
something.
Sure. And, between falling forward, God's grace, and showing up, here we are. So in that, I'm not a millionaire yet. Maybe one day. We'll see.
You will be. You're going to be a
but
millionaire.
My wife and I bought our first house last year.
Right.
And it's nothing crazy. It's nothing fancy. There's a lot of work we got to do on it, but it fits our needs.
Yeah.
And we're so blessed for it. So in that sense, my favorite success story, it's like, hey, me really, in the sense of I work dang hard.
Yeah. You're starting to see some fruits of your labor. That's
So,
awesome. Man.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're trying to do everything in cash for the business. So,
Yeah.
we don't have any debt right now. And I can finally start paying myself a little bit. So
Good.
That's really, really nice.
I like it. Thank you. And I think sometimes it's like, I think that we should give ourselves some credit is what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of times we get so you're mucking mire and working all the time. And we don't give ourselves credit for the work we do.
Sure.
There's
always more.
Yeah. There's always,
It's easy to go on to the next one.
Or you work all day and you didn't really win.
Right.
And so it's hard to really like, oh, man, I'm so happy I showed up and did everything and got no money.
Hmm.
That's a hard place for people to get through.
Yeah.
But it happens more often than not.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're trying to you're just doing bids, you know, or
Sure.
whatever. Like for
Yeah.
me, it's like just generating leads or
Mm-hmm.
fulfilling orders or whatever. Some days it's just a series of L's, you know?
Yeah. No, that's a great point because, I think sometimes we can err on the side of like, I don't know if I call myself a workaholic, but you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to get it done. I mean, if something needs to be done by the end of the day and it's 7 o'clock and it hasn't been done yet, well, you better do it because you're going to suffer tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So there's that. But shout out to my wife. Incredible at encouragement. I mean, she is always telling me, babe, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And I don't talk to myself very nicely. I think I should talk to myself a little bit nicer in the sense of like, dang, like, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. Man, that could have been better, And it's like, well, I still did.
We're our worst critic.
I just want to be A plus.
Have you ever heard that Wentworth Miller thing on Facebook?
What's that?
It's like a 30-second clip, and he says, if we talk to ourselves, like if we talk to our friends like we talk to ourselves, we'd have no friends.
I'd have no friends.
And he's like, like when you mess up, you're always telling yourself, of course, you idiot.
Yep.
What else did you expect?
Come on, Franklin. What are
you
we doing?
Suck.
Yep.
Like if Madam like, hey Tim, I'm having a hard day. Lift me up. Of course, you suck, Ronnie.
Yeah.
You'll never get anything.
It's so true.
It's like I'm out of BNI. I'm gone.
It's so true.
You know what I mean? Like when you hear that, it takes a minute for it to sink in.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like, damn, I am that way on myself all the time. I am my worst critic.
Yep.
So okay, we're gonna try and do what Tim says and thank ourselves for getting stuff done.
You have to, and not to, an arrogant, delirious state of, thinking that you're the man all the time. You got to struggle. But at the end of the day, I think you said earlier, it's important. Like, hey, think back, reflect a little bit, be like, yeah, you know what, that was good.
Yeah.
Sure, one or two things could still be better. Note those things.
Yeah.
Try and be better next time. But you know what, we worked hard today. Patio turned out great. So you know what, kudos.
Or we worked hard today and nothing got done. The concrete didn't get poured, but we showed up. We got everything done. We were ready. We had some hiccups. We're still good people. We're great. We explained to the consumer, they're going to be fine.
That's right.
Let's get it done tomorrow. I think some days you just have to take those days.
Nobody died.
Nobody
I'm
died.
Not a doctor. Like,
yeah. Okay. Doctors out there watching it, you can't do that. Like you can't like pilots.
Yep.
You got to land the plane.
Yep.
You can't, you ever hear that like deal? He was
Chris Rock, right?
Yeah. Like one of them, like pilots can't have bad days.
Yep.
Our pilots land some of the time. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No, you guys don't listen to this, But yeah, for the rest of us, like, okay, you can still call it a good day because you got a lot of hard work done.
That's right.
It just didn't amount to what you wanted, and I think people don't realize that that's coming. You like you said earlier, have faith.
Right.
Keep doing the good work.
Yeah. Let's say stuff hits the fan, and I lose the patio. Hasn't happened yet. But and it doesn't turn out right. It's like, well, you know what? Bummer. Go make it right.
Yeah.
Go fix it. And for me, that means ripping it out and redoing it.
I've had to do that many times, dude. Like I haven't had to give anybody a car. I mean, that would be like catastrophic. Like,
sure.
What would cause that?
Yeah.
Okay, I messed up so bad. I'm giving you the 40 grand car. Like that's never gonna really happen.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that happening. But I have done deals where I was like, okay, we've got everything set. We're gonna make this much profit. It's gonna be fine. Oh man, we missed that. We missed that. We're actually gonna lose $2,500, but they're coming to get the car at 5. And we have to be ready and smiling and deliver this car. There's no going back now and saying, hey, I need you to pay me more.
Right.
We missed this or whatever. Those accidents happened early on.
Totally.
I'm working for nothing,
mm-hmm.
And actually a loss. So those lessons were not free.
And then you look in the mirror.
It's my fault. So you can blame other people. And we did spend a lot of time doing that.
Yeah.
Well, if they would have just delivered it on time, if they would have just done this,
mm-hmm.
the inspection report would have been right. It's like, oh. But eventually you have to get back to the mirror and it's like, what did we do wrong? We're supposed to be the experts.
Well, and how many more times did you make that mistake?
Not many, but like, I mean, okay, like we're human, like things happen, but like, those are great points. These are things I've just forgotten about that have happened. And so sitting talking to younger people like you, say, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about because I had to live it. I've just forgotten about it,
You can't.
And I hope not to make those mistakes anymore.
Right. I mean, you can't buy that feeling in your gut or whatever it is.
Like, well, fast forward this week, I had a deal set up with a guy, and it's going. And I noticed a couple of things. Like, we need to do this, so this car's going to be this much.
Mm-hmm.
He's totally happy with it. And then I get my estimates, and I'm like, yeah, I was dead on the money, And so, I don't make those mistakes as much anymore because we've gotten educated. Or I'm like, let me call you back.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go and check. You don't need to know it all. like because I think once you start knowing it all, you stop growing and you start. I mean, things are changing. Inflation's happening.
Absolutely.
Repairs are different. Windshields are a lot of money now. Like, so
Got all those sensors in there.
that's exactly right. I've got the one I'm doing is like $865. So yeah. So, but once you learn those things, it's okay to tell your customer, I don't know. Let me find out. I'll call you right back.
Yeah.
They just want the job done right.
Right.
They're not complaining about pricing.
Mm-hmm.
They just want it done properly, and they don't want to have to do it twice.
Because you got to take ownership either way.
Yeah, I'm gonna own it. I gotta own it, man.
Let's just do it right the first time and call it good.
Yeah. Okay, great. I love that. Let's see what else we got here. Favorite success story. Okay, this is a tough one for people if you haven't been thinking about it. We believe business is a chess move. There's a book over here called Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. If you'd like to check that book out, it's very good. It's just like it's a game of chess. Grandmasters see 15 moves out when they're playing chess.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. Like, what's his name? Magnus. So he's like 15 moves.
Isn't he like 15?
Right.
He's probably older now, but yeah.
Yeah, when he started, but like they can see 15 moves and that's how they play. And so when we look at business, I'm not a master at this yet. I'm hoping to see 3 moves out, but
sure.
The goal is 5 right now. So if you had to put some stuff in place right now for the rest of 23, what would be your next 5 moves?
Great question. Let me check a few things off my list, or at least maybe
that you already accomplished this year.
Because I have, and I haven't replaced them.
That's great.
So it's good, but it also, you should replace them, right? I mean, now if I only have one,
you got to keep moving.
List, exactly. Yeah. So we purchased it's called an MT100. It's a ride behind.
I want to see that thing.
Oh, it's so nice.
We do another 1-to-1. I want to get on that thing.
I'll bring it by. We can goof off.
We'll do a Facebook reel.
Do some donuts.
Yeah, we'll do a reel. Okay.
Well, it's great. It's only 3 foot wide, and the bucket on there can lift 1,000 pounds, and it's probably wheelbarrow and a half. 2 wheelbarrows can fit in the bucket.
So it replaces the real wheelbarrow.
Oh, it's
incredible. And 3 guys.
It's incredible. It never calls in sick. It's there when I'm there, and it works if I grease it.
Why don't we have them at home? Like, why do I still have a wheelbarrow? I mean, they must be expensive,
a little
and
pricey,
bulky. Okay,
a little pricey.
Gotcha. Okay.
But no, it's been wonderful because like we were talking off camera ahead of time. I don't want to have a shovel in my hand when I'm 50 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, my body is temporal.
Be careful now. I'm 53.
Well, you're in great shape. I know you and Matt Serma work out all the time. You're killer.
Oh, we're not as good as we used to be, but thank you.
I only have so much cartilage in my knees. You know what I'm
saying?
True.
Or your back. Yeah.
And I would so much rather spend that throwing my kids around,
hanging
out with my wife rather than, oh, sorry.
That was a major move.
Dad spent his energy today shoveling, and that's good. That's fine. It's what I'm called to do right now. But, so that was, I would say, step 1 in the, hey, how do I make it so that I don't have a shovel in my hand when I'm 50, 60 years old, because got to tell you, I don't have a retirement plan right now to retire at 40. So, if I'm still working, what are going to be those moves?
Right.
Do I stay in concrete? Do I have multiple crews going for me? I would say that'd be step 1 because, hey, it's something I know how to do.
Yeah.
Like, let's do this. Can I do this well? Can I manage 1 crew well? Okay. Well, can I manage 2? Well, can I manage 3? And as we put those pieces into place, I can tell you right now, one step that I need to take is not micromanaging, right? Because I've got the Tim Franklin Crazy Rooster Concrete way of doing it. It needs to be like this. And that's good to an extent, in the sense of, hey, here's a proven formula that works.
Chick-fil-A tastes like Chick-fil-A no matter where I go.
Exactly.
It's a nice formula.
You get good service no matter what part of town you're in, no matter what part of town.
So there's something to be said about what our dads taught us, like, it's got to be this way.
Oh, absolutely.
But continue. So what are you saying?
That being said, I've worked with some great people over the years who have given me some good, honest feedback that's like, hey, man, you're kind of overbearing right now. Look, check the work, but you don't need to stand over my shoulder. And it's such a bummer because I don't want people standing over my shoulder. And I didn't even necessarily realize that I was doing it. So hopefully taking responsibility and being in a place where I'm humble enough to where I'm able to hear that and
receive that message.
Exactly. It's
yeah.
Like, oh, dang. Okay. Well, tell you what, I noticed 1, 2, and 3. So you work on that and I'll work on not standing over you.
Yeah.
Cause and really trusting myself too, to communicate well and have the right people in place to do it my way. Right. And also it's like, well, first of all, mistakes happen. So there's that. And secondly, it's like, well, yeah, that's not exactly how you would do it. But guess what? I only have 24 hours in a day. And I only want to spend 8 to 10 of those working, ideally less,
Yeah, the way I see it, if Tim's doing the job, it's like 3 times the money.
Right.
Because it's going to be, you got the crazy rooster doing the concrete in your backyard.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
I'm the most expensive part on the job. Absolutely. So that being
that's hard to let go of because your business is like a craft. Like they're putting it on there and staying on it for 30 years.
Right. And you only have so long.
Every time you walk out there on it, this crazy rooster dude did it.
That's right.
So I think your argument is good about it needs to be done your way.
Yeah.
It's your
tough.
art.
It's tough.
But you also have to let go so you can grow.
Right. Because if I were to do every single thing my way,
well, you're only doing 2 jobs.
Right.
That's it.
And the cost on those jobs is astronomical, and nobody wins because then I'm stressed and all this stuff. So I would say that would be the second business step for me, is learning to let go. Hey,
trust. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I like it. Yeah.
And trust them to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Double check, trust but verify. Right.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But understanding that it's a learning process for them and for me.
So that's 2.
Oh boy, 3 more.
Or you could go 1 more, whatever you want to do. I put you on the spot.
Finding your niche is important, because there's a certain amount of pride, that everybody has. But if somebody asks me a question, or hey, can you do this job? I want to say yes to everything. I really do, because it's like, man, I can do concrete. You guys listening?
Well.
Yeah. I can do this really, really well. And every now and again, somebody asks me something that I haven't done before, maybe more than every so often. You get
you're growing. Hey, bigger jobs, bigger
right.
things.
Yeah. And there's this constant war within me of, I want to get better. I want to be able to say yes. Like, hey, there's money in that. So you know what? Like, I want to be able to take that on. Versus, hey, dude, that is not your clientele.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Could you learn how to do that? Yeah, you could. But guess what? It's going to take a dozen jobs before you're good at it. And you need to find, a good way to learn so that you're not eating cost on a dozen jobs, before.
And ruining your rep.
Exactly.
That's easy to do. It's like so quick.
It's a tough balance between taking on new challenges, because you don't want to get stuck in a rut.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to pour the same 10 by 10 shed pad for the next 20 years. No thanks. But finding that appropriate level of growth and learning versus the current skill set that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So saying no really is what it comes down to. It's like, oh, you know what? Actually, that's a little bit outside the scope of my work. I might be able to recommend someone to you. I might be able to point you in the right direction, or really ask you, hey, look, I don't do this work, but this is going to be a $40,000, $50,000 project. So are you even ready to do that right now? Or does this get pushed off a day or two, or a year or two? Exactly. So and educating myself in that too, and not viewing it as a bad thing or a blow to my ego.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, no,
do that one.
I don't do it right now.
Yeah, I have to do that. Yeah. If you want a new Tesla, there's nothing I can do about it.
Sure.
You can only buy from Tesla. Yeah. Brand new. I can get you a used one. But brand new ones, it's like, no, I recommend it. I recommend you lease it. They change so fast. I don't know why anybody would buy them long term, but sure. I like the technology with those. But yeah, having to say no is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, learning to say no is also liberating.
Absolutely. It is. It really is.
People respect it.
Mm-hmm.
They respect you as an expert when you tell them this is not something that I can help you with. I had no value to it or whatever, instead of trying to do it and then messing it up. And then that's a lifetime of pain there.
And just being honest with the why. A lot of people will ask me for, city sidewalks. And I say, no, I can do it, but the city requires, permitting and inspection and all this stuff. And it's like, man, it's a hole in the ground. I can dig a 6-inch hole.
It's a money pit.
It is. And it just slows me
Permits
down.
And inspections. And you gotta pull what are those little things for where's the freaking gas lines? All of this stuff.
Of it. Yeah. And you gotta prep everything. And then the inspector comes by. Then you can pour the next day, because I don't want to pour at 2 p.m. when the inspector gets to me. And they only release the scheduled day up. So all these things. And it's like, you know what? Absolutely, that's something that I can physically do, but it just doesn't fit with how I'm running my business right now. So
there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
but
maybe the city can recommend. The city should be recommending those things if they tie them up so much.
I tell you what, if I can spend 30 seconds.
Go ahead.
You are responsible for the city sidewalk in front of your house if somebody trips and falls. That is your fault.
I shovel it all the time.
Absolutely. Now, if the concrete is in disarray, disrepair and needs to be replaced, you call up the city to say, oh, we'll put you on our list. It's going to be 3 years before we get out there.
You get in writing?
And you say, no, it's really, really bad. You need to get out here now. And they say, oh, okay, we'll put you on the expedited list. We'll be there in 18 months.
Wow.
And it's unreal because these people are liable for the city-owned property that's in front of their house, and then somebody who could fix the
Anything the
problem
government's
in the private
involved in.
market can't do it. Anyway, that's right. Beware the guy who says, "I'm from the government. I'm here to help."
Yes. Yeah, I've
Anyway.
had a neighbor come and thank me for because I do get a snowblower, but like if there's an inch, I'm like blow that stuff off of there. It takes like no time,
Mhm.
and so but I feel like it, there's a mailbox over there, so like people need to come and go, and I always worry like what if they slip, like because if it starts melting and icing up and
Yeah.
they end up
You never
stuck on
know
my
with
fence or
Colorado.
something, I don't know. So I can't make it slip proof, but I try to do my job. Shovel your sidewalks, guys.
Shovel, don't use salt. Otherwise, you're going to be calling me and spending a lot of money.
Don't use salt. Okay.
Salt will kill your concrete. You can use gravel if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, gravel's
Okay.
fine. Dirt's fine.
That's interesting. I use that blue stuff sometimes when it's like the shade is hidden and there's some places I'll throw that blue stuff because I know the Amazon guys are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I throw that blue stuff down.
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, sometimes you have to,
Yeah.
And there are companies that say it doesn't harm concrete. They're liars.
It does. Well, I didn't know that till you just said it.
They're
so
liars.
I'll see if I can find gravel. Then what? I just sweep it off to the side in the summer.
Yep.
Okay, great. That's what we're doing, guys. We're using gravel.
Take care of your
breeze.
That's right. It's expensive. It's not cheap.
You get a bag of it though instead of a whole dump truck full, and then it'll probably last till winter.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, guys. Well, great. This is Tim Franklin. He's in my BNI group. If you need concrete jobs, let us know. Post in the comments that you need concrete with your phone number, and he'll call you back. And if you have any questions or you would like to share some of your hard-earned knowledge with us, we'd love to have you on the show. It doesn't have to be in the office. It can be over Zoom. So thank you for joining us. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for sharing your story with us, my man.
Thank you much.
Appreciate your time. I can't watch your journey and celebrate your baby when he is here in 8 months?
Oh, what is it now? June? 4 months.
4 months. Wow.
Yep. It's coming up quick.
You have a baby shower and all that stuff coming up.
The wife's planning it.
Yeah.
I just work here.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, everybody have a great day. Thanks for joining us.